All right, next presenter hails from Estonia. He works for a clean tech fund, very fresh, very new. He started off as an analyst working with some more traditional investment firms, but you'll find out more about that from him. The cool stuff I found about him is that he essentially climbed to base camp at Mount Everest, roughly 5,600 meters above sea level. If you point at a plane in the sky, he will tell you what the model is, production history, the whole thing. When he was a kid, he was able to memorize almost every city on the planet. So I confidently say that this is one of the nerdiest but coolest presenters in that department. He's fresh. He's a bit of maybe a glorified analyst with a partner seat. So we'll see how we treat him, Uriel. All right? But he's a good sport about this. Please welcome Hendrik from 2C Ventures. Please. Let's do it. Looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, please pick Hendrik from 2C Ventures. I've been seeing some mistakes in your filing. And please do at the end of the segment. All right? Thank you very much. Let's do it, Hendrik.
So hi, everyone. First of all, great to be here. And, well, as you can read from the slide, I'm from 2C Ventures. We're a fully dedicated cleantech VC fund focusing on the new Nordics. So before I tell you more about who we are and what we exactly do, I want to focus on why we do it. And, well, personally, for me, there are three primary reasons. There's the personal reason. It is the right thing to do. It may sound as cliché as it may, but I can say it completely sincerely, that basically I want to be able to look my son in the eye in 20 years when the climate crisis will be significantly worse than it is today, and say that at least I tried to do something. Secondly, there's the opportunity part. Green transition will be the biggest redistribution of wealth in our generation. That is, of course, if we actually manage to complete the green transition. But I'm hopeful that we can. And thirdly, there's the location. Estonia is the perfect place for a clean tech hub. We have one of the best education systems in the world. We have a thriving startup community, as you can see. We also have a pretty business-friendly government, generally. But we're not quite there yet. When you look at R&D spending as a share of GDP, we are actually below EU average. And we're far below countries like Sweden and US. And this is where we want to help it. So who we are? 100% clean tech fund, as I said. Target size is 50 million. We invest from pre-seed to Series A. The initial ticket size would be 250K to 1 million, but we're reserving half of the fund for follow-ons. We are conservative in our portfolio construction, so we want to make around 4 to 6 investments per year. And while this is a new fund for us as a team, collectively we've made over 300 investments as angels or from previous funds. Very briefly about the team. Currently, we're just the 4 partners you can see on the screen, but we're looking to grow it a little bit this year. We all have very different experiences, so we hope to leverage this for the benefit of our portfolio companies. And then maybe super short about my own background. I worked as a private equity investor in Livonia Partners for a number of years, and then I joined Katana Technologies, where I was head of finance and helped to build up the finance function. And since October last year, I'm now fully working on 2C Ventures. That's it. Hope I made it in time.
You did. We had a 5-second left buffer. Please make a hand of applause for the 5 presenter. Let's do it.
Well, you don't hear a lot of VCs pitching redistribution of wealth. So that's original.
That is definitely very unique.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that?
Venezuela and our neighbors talk a lot about that. But actually, I have a question. Since allegedly you've been climbing Mount Everest.
Only base camp.
It's true. Okay, at least. I've a couple of leadership books I've read recently, and
read books?
No, Audible. I listen.
I like that.
Can't read.
Audible is amazing, ladies and gentlemen.
I do recommend it. One of the examples they always bring out about climbing Everest is knowing when to quit. There's a culture that, you got to keep going, this kind of overwork culture in startups. And people, you talked about your experience with entrepreneurship, people break down, they can't. the example they bring is the reason why there's so many dead people on Everest is because people don't know when to quit. They're like, oh, I can go a little bit more. I can push it just one more day. Oh, I just need a few hundred more meters. How do you tell founders when to quit? Or is it always, you can do more, you can do this?
Well, I think it may not necessarily have to be quitting. It can also be pivoting, right?
Okay, that's another name for
yeah.
quitting. I don't know.
Sounds like a dodge, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Actually,
a dodge.
we're about to make an investment. Can't disclose the name yet, but it's exactly a company which we think has tremendously great founders. And they started out with something, and they've now pivoted to a completely different thing. And in a way, at least for me, it shows the founders are strong, because they figured out relatively quickly that whatever they were starting to do, it's not going to work. But let's try to figure out something new. Let's see if we can build something new. So is that really quitting? I don't know, but I think it was a very smart decision.
Ceasing to do the thing you did before and changing to a new thing is quitting that first thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I think this is good for the startup culture to realize that it's perfectly okay to change your mind. It's perfectly okay to do something that maybe works better for you, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Listen,
So he wouldn't have died on the mountain. He would have realized that if you're running out of oxygen, if it isn't going to make it by evening,
I would have ceased to go up and started to go down. Yeah.
or stayed there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a few questions from the audience, actually roughly 5. I will ask this because it had 5 smiley faces. So it's a very friendly question. It's a very friendly question.
Is it about ping pong? No.
No, it's about where are the women in the fund?
Sorry?
Female partners, female analysts, where, and I quote, where are the women in the fund? 5 smiley faces. Whoever asked this, you're super friendly.
Absolutely, it's a fair question. I mean, we've actually discussed it internally as well.
You discussed it?
We have.
It's disgusting.
We're hiring a person right now as well, but we're not discriminating against anyone. But the thing is, obviously, we like...
we just don't hire them. We don't discriminate. We just don't hire. Okay.
The team needs
Okay,
to be
let's be
diverse.
fair here.
Okay, yeah.
Let's hear it out.
Sorry.
The team needs to be diverse, but I think we are at least we are diverse in the sense of the previous experiences of the partners. And the problem is also that the team wasn't born really as that we went and hired the partners somewhere. We just were partners that kind of knew each other and had a common vision. So that's how we were born.
So you and Tavi hang out usually, or?
I hang out with Herti. Herti hanged out with Tavi.
I think we had Herti in the... Oh, there he is, Herti.
There it is.
Herti
6
Tammo.
degrees of
There we go.
separation.
Yeah.
There we go. One of your partners. Is Herti full-time?
No, partially. He's also still working for Startup Voice Guys.
Tavi full time?
Also partial.
So,
But me and Martin are full-time.
okay, so you guys are the workhorses.
Yeah.
So basically when
Is
you...
that fair? You guys got to do all the work. They're like startup tourists.
I mean,
They do their share as well.
who do we actually get? Let's say, who does the startup founder get when 2C Venture invests?
Depends. Every deal will have a lead investor. Could be any of us. Could also be Herti and Tavi. Will be Herti and Tavi for some investments. It'll be clear during the investment process as well who will be the lead partner. But I think
But it won't be any women.
but the key is,
Leading statements here.
would really
Leading
like-
statements.
Object, yes.
As object.
given that we have different experiences, we would really like to leverage it for every single company. So I cannot advise anybody on how to build a sales team. I've never done it. I have no idea about it. I can advise them about how to build the financials of the company. But for example, when evaluating a go-to-market strategy, I would use Martin.
And to give it up, Martin Koppel from Fortumo,
Yeah.
quality exit, super Estonian company, really, really good partner. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep feeding those questions. We want to mix it up. Several of you obviously wanted to know about the diversity element. Totally get it. We did it last year too. So fair questions here. Listen, what is the single biggest, most valuable thing your fund can give a founder on top of the money?
The most valuable thing probably would be a warm introduction to some later stage investor. But depends on the company. Maybe some companies don't actually need this warm introduction. They're so awesome that all the funds come to them. For these companies, maybe there is something else. It depends. It also depends on what's missing in the company. Could it be the go-to-market strategy, which somebody from our team can advise on? Maybe it could be constructing a fundraising narrative and the pitch, which I can help with. So it depends from company to company, I would say.
We do have a question here, and this is to do with your personal experience. So you spent time in Livonia, an investment firm. What did you do before Livonia, and what did you learn from that period? Is a question from the audience here. Somebody is very specific. So what did you learn?
Herti's typing questions in there?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. We don't know. Herti, is that yours? All right. Yeah. Let's see. What did you learn?
Yeah, before Livonia, I was working for Trigon Capital, and there actually my first job was in rural Mozambique. So we made some African investment, or it's not in plural, it's actually one investment in rural Mozambique. It didn't go too well because the country also went to civil war, and some of the trucks that were carrying the cargo, they were actually stolen and lit up on fire. That was difficult to do business like that, but that was an interesting experience. What I learned is that I would actually one day, I hope that 2C Ventures would grow large enough that we can have an African fund or something like that as well. But for that, you really need a strong local team, and it also needs to be quite big, because doing it on a small scale, you just get lost there.
That sounds cool.
Big thing for you probably is CFO at Katana.
Yeah.
Right? You work with some really good investors. What are some of the lessons from that experience that you take to your job today?
Well, I would say, and I try to say it to every startup that we talk to, what I learned from them is that they can help a lot. They can actually, they come to the board meeting, they help us structure the board meetings and how to conduct the materials, and that you should send them before, and that the board should actually read the materials before they come to the board, so that it's not a surprise, it's actually a useful board meeting, and so forth. But what I also learned is that they don't get in the way where they don't have any value to add. And this is also something that we would do. I mean, we are not scientists, so we're not going to tell the company how to build their science. We help where we can, and where we can't help, we don't stay in the way.
All right, ladies and
I think
gentlemen.
that's the differentiation also.
Thank you for the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a warm hand of applause for Hendrik. 2C Ventures. Let's do this. Ida Hendrik, you survived. Very good.